Missy Elliott. At the time, my parents only let me listen to gospel and the smooth jazz station. But that day, I went home, ran upstairs to my room, closed the door, which is a cardinal sin in a Black mother's house, and I waited on TRL to come on. And then it happened. Metallics in a black trash bag filled my TV screen, and I hear the coolest thing I'd ever heard in 8 years of living. Beep, beep. Who got the keys to the Jeep? Vroom. And at that moment, I had my entire life figured out. I was going to grow up to be Missy Elliott. I spent the next 10 years of my life recording and rewinding videos to learn dance moves, passing that Dutch, getting my freak on, trying to figure out what the hell she was saying and work it. There were so many artists I could have idolized at the time, but Missy was the only one who looked like me. It's because of Melissa Elliott that I believed that a fat Black girl from Chicago could dance until she felt pretty, could be sexy and cool, could be a woman playing a man's game and not be apologetic about it. If you ask me what representation in the media is important, I will show you my velour outfit and the matching Kango hat I begged my parents for. I will show you a woman who learned how to dance until she felt pretty. Feminism wears a throwback jersey, bamboo earrings, and a face beat for the gods. Feminism is the brat Missy Elliott, Lil' Kim, Angie Martinez, and Left Eye on the Not Tonight track. Feminism says, as a woman in my arena, you are not my competition. As a woman in my arena, your light doesn't make mine any dimmer. Dear Missy, I did not grow up to be you, but I did grow up to be me and to be in love with who this woman is, to be a woman playing a man's game and to not be apologetic about any of it. If you ask me what representation is important, I will tell you on days I don't feel pretty, I hear the sweet voice of Missy saying to me, pop that, jiggle that fat, and don't stop, get it till your clothes get wet. I will tell you that right now there are a million girls just waiting to see someone who looks like them. Thank you all so much for listening. I wanted to break the ice a little bit for some poetry. This is a great show. Thank you all so much. I am so excited to introduce to the stage, all the way from North Kakalaka, North Carolina. Please give it up for your sacrificial poet, Carlos Robeson.
Greetings, everybody. How we doing? Take a deep breath, everybody. Here's a poem.
The clock started.
First, I got it. I thought that too. The first lesson the universe ever taught us was the story of the sun, was the power of the light, that it comes after darkness, that it follows the light, that it moves in a cycle. It's the first circle of life. But with the passing of time came the desire to find a light when the sun wasn't high, and so came fire. And fire wasn't the sun, but it felt nearly the same. And even in darkness, folks could act like it was day. They could tell jokes and gossip and stay up late. It wasn't the sun, but it was okay. And over the years, we substituted the light. Never for something as powerful, never for something as bright, but campfires and torches became lanterns and candles, and getting into trouble and becoming a handful and believing that we were a part of the dark. And eventually came electricity and Edison's bulb, and now we could be lonely in the night but still have light. And some folks were able to make good in their darkness, and some couldn't tell, but the ones who made good held that light in themselves, and then came creating distance from each other, even though we were never that distant from each other. Then came self-doubt and jealousy, and over the years, y'all, we substituted this light, never for something as powerful, never for something as bright. And with that came replacing some light with just some light, just sunlight. Came staying up all night but still living in darkness. Then came TVs and computer screens, came social media and comparisons, and our belief that we're not living up to things. We are all hiding in the darkness, staring into our phones, ignoring the people who turn our houses to homes. We all look for something better outside of our lives instead of stoking our own fires and reflecting the light that's inside. And somewhere along the way, some of us got confused between the light and the day, and because we couldn't command one, we gave up on both. And we accepted what we were told, that we can't carry the light of our hopes. We allow our doubts to cloak us in shame. We don't think we're enough to make a distant difference. We think we're the sum of our pain. And once we start to believe these thoughts is exactly how we find ourselves in the dark. But really, we just have to remember the earliest lesson, that light against light means nothing, and darkness against darkness means nothing. It is the contrast that gives them difference. We know it exists in the world. We know it exists in immeasurable proportion. We know mankind can be consumed by our own darkness, but who amongst us is brave enough to commit themselves to light? Who will remind us of our earliest lessons? Who will sit at dusk and as the sun goes down, put their arms around our shoulders and remind us of what tomorrow will bring? Which one of us has that bravery? Who can stand and face the darkness and tell it you cannot last forever? Who among us knows the light well enough to put it into words? The sunshine says we are smart enough. The sunshine says you are beautiful enough. The sunshine says you are worthy. The sunshine says you are capable. The sunshine says that as long as you are alive, you too are the light.
Woo! That was Lois all the way from North Carolina. Thank you so much, Lois. Judges are going to send their scores to the bout manager, and I'm going to read the score after the next poet. So you hear Carlos's score immediately after Christina. And Christina, you sent in an audio file, so we will need to play that for your slot. Did I get that right? Somebody?
That's correct.
That's correct. Okay, awesome. So I'm going to cue that up. In the meantime, we will have just a small little intermission.
The only audio file I sent was how to pronounce my name, which you got correct.
Oh, okay. So you're actually performing. I thought this was an audio file of your performance. Awesome. So next to the mic, I'm sorry. Next to
allowing audio files, Ashley, remember?
What'd you say?
No audio files allowed.
Oh, right. We did this. I was on the committee that decided that. Bad host. Bad Ashley. So without further ado, you just heard from our sacrificial poet, Lois. Please, everyone, give a muted round of applause to our first poet of the competition, Christina.
Thank you. Thank you. On my screen, it doesn't have my pronouns on there like everybody else's, so I just want to put out there that they are she, her for future reference. Alrighty, so this piece is called A Girl at Work Asked Me If My Favorite Food Was Fried Chicken and Other Microaggressions. Then she came up to me and asked, so what are you? My initial reaction was, well, I'm a girl. But my gut knew that wasn't what she meant. I've been asked this question one too many times. But does it really matter? Because no matter how you fry that chicken, some will only see me as Kool-Aid and collard greens, neck bone and nappy hair, shoe flea and ashy knees. And with that being said, excuse my French, I would like to give a big fuck you to the next person who asks me if I ever get sunburns, to the next person who ever touches my hair without permission, and to the next man who ever tells me that I'm pretty for a Black girl.
That was Christina. Please give a Zoom muted round of applause for that poet. The score for Los was a... Uh-oh. I don't see a score for Los.
The score for Los was only 1 score out of 3, but we'll just score this one.
Okay, so
Los
1 score out of 3. So next up to the...
Okay, so these are the scores I'm receiving, to be clear right now, are for Christina. That judges are sent.
Awesome.
Just to be clear.
Okay, awesome. Okay. So we won't read the score for Los. Christina just went. Next up to the mic on deck is Jamie Williams. Next up to the mic is Sunshine Alvarez de Silva. Y'all give a Zoom round of applause.
Is it me or Jamie? I'm sorry, I got confused. Okay, cool. Sorry. The title of this is 7 Words She Spoke. 7 words she spoke, which slip and slid me, splashing into the sea. Sounds, the third she spoke, shining, glinting sea, lapping, tapping, waving sea. Against the surf sand, against the whole side. To navigate, 6th and 7th, sailing the ever-changing, the threatening, loving, vast, wonderful sea. Hard the 5th, like the sand against my face, like the rock tearing the ship apart. Like the wave que me revuelca, tumbling, crashing into the sand. Really? The 3rd. Really? I wouldn't have thought that. Huh. Porque being called güerito en la pescadería is inconceivable. Porque my skin spells it out. A P where? An O there. A C here. POC. Why would it be otherwise? But in la mar, shining, glinting sea. Yo soy güerito, blondie. I'm neither here nor there. Como el mar, like the shore, que viene y va. Never fixed, never firm, untethered, ungrounded. Afloat, navigating the vast, deep blue sea. At her mercy and like the whisper of the wind, the soft splash of the wave. Wow. The first. Wow, el mar. Wow. That the second, eso que me dijo, pero not that fish as I'm called, güerito, not the warm sandy shore, not the biting storm, but that vast lonely feeling of looking all around to find nothing but the deep glinting dark sea. That floating calm, that pain from the scratches the waves and the sand gave me as they embraced me, tossed me, that I am like the shore, neither here nor there, ni de aquí ni de allá. Those words she spoke that called me, that warmed. Wow, she said of being placeless. That sounds really hard to navigate.
And that was Sunshine. Y'all give a Zoom muted round of applause. Carlos, can I get a score for the previous poet, Christina Kaufman?
Christina got a 22.9. Give it up for Christina again. Give it up for Sunshine right now.
We always applaud the poet and not the scores. On deck, when I say on deck, that means for you to get ready because you are after the person who's next. So on deck, we have Kyla Joy, but up next to the microphone is Jamie Williams. Zoom round of applause. Jamie, and just a reminder, your time starts as soon as you start speaking.
During my sophomore year of college, after English 1002, this overprivileged girl from the suburbs dared to stretch her paper-thin lips and try turning my city into nothing more than a black bird on its deathbed. She said she never stops in Richmond. She just drives past on her way to school because it's too dangerous. And until this day, there's an ocean of anger inside of my chest, wishing I looked her dead in the eyes and said, my city is not a buckshot loaded into the barrel of a shotgun. My city is the city of pride and purpose that you do not get to deem worthless. Richmond is not a raven on his deathbed about to croak. Let's call it the smoke. Dancing on top of the bonfire as if there's no tomorrow. Yes, my city knows sorrow. It has mastered the art of holding death and progress in the same breath. It heard the thunderclap of bullets raining on Cutting Boulevard, rinsed the blood off of his fingertips, and never even had a moment to mourn, because in the morning, it had to become the sun, pulling apart the night sky like blinds to reveal a brand new day. Richmond is the place of praise, y'all. It's the loudest hallelujah that should leap from your lips. It's the alarm clock buzzing in your brain, letting you know it's time to wake up. Richmond is made up of melanin and stardust, and blood, and bones. Call it home to the future's biggest protest, because my city looks a lot like a revolutionary at rest. It is a pulsing heart, the size of a black power fist, doused in the flames of being forgotten. My city knows how to be forgotten, knows how to tuck itself inside itself, but ain't that all a hood is anyway? Two sides of the same coin, two sets in the same city, two gangs gunning at each other like there isn't a common enemy, like there isn't a multitude of institutions constructed to carry black bodies into cages or coffins. So when I walk into these public schools, overly eager to teach my classes, I refuse to see a violent crime rate 138% higher than the national average. I choose to see a body of Black and brown students with pebbles of hope thrown so far down their well-shaped hearts that it is hard to walk on the asphalt without hear it calling your name. Until this day, I wish I told that girl from the suburbs that Richmond looks a lot like the moon, constantly going through cycles of its own rebirth, better yet. It is a phoenix rising from its own ashes, ready to reclaim itself, ready to rename itself. It's something that never has to die on the tongue of those who refuses to see its infinite beauty. Say it with me, Richmond. Ashley, you're on mute.
I was saying a muted Zoom round of applause, which you all did. Carlos, can I get a score for the previous poet, Sunshine?
Sunshine got a 24.0. Give it up for Sunshine again, and give it up for Jamie again. Give it up for Jamie and Sunshine again.
Always give it up for the poet and never the score. On deck is Maria Martinez del Carmen, but up next to the mic right now is Kyla Joy. Give me a Zoom round of applause.
All right, this is called Black Dress, Black Tights, Black Veil. My body is not a temple, it is a mausoleum. So rest in peace to the pieces of myself interred within. Come pay your respects to the bones buried in my chest. Remember how beautiful they were in life, once so vibrant, so full, so timeless. In memoriam, I am my own widow. I grieve myself as the days bleed and blend together. I wait for the ache of loss to pass, but it never does. Black dress, black tights, black veil. Mornings are for mourning. I spend them leaned up against graves, telling stories to ghosts. I roam the cemetery I've built, trail my fingertips along headstones, searching for the courage to face the sun as it sets. I seem to have forgotten that I am not already dead. Pumped full of chemicals and embalmed, made up by a mortician and put on display. Black dress, black tights, black veil. I've still not found my afterlife. Maybe it's somewhere between eulogies. I am a phantom of unfinished business, so I will sit in the back row at my own funeral, too self-conscious to grieve, holding a bouquet of daisies and all of the reasons I had to leave. I pre-wrote my own obituary and dug my own grave so long ago that I forgot what anticipating life looked like. Ashley, you're on mute.
I really have got to stop doing that. Carlos, my brilliant Bout manager, may I get a score for Jamie Williams?
Jamie Williams got a 27.6. Give it up for Jamie Williams again, and give it up again for Kyla.
Always applaud the poet, not the score.
I also
On deck,
really quickly, I want to say y'all are doing great with time. Good job, team. You're doing great with time. Everyone's been good with time.
Awesome. Love to hear it. On deck, we have Anna Carroll. Up next to the microphone right now is Maria Martinez del Carmen. Y'all please give up a Zoom round of applause.
Café Amargo. Bobby brews the first cup at 5 in the morning. If the aroma didn't wake me, their fighting would. Mommy used to say, even if they ran out of love, we never run out of café. Chocolate café is to greet your family members with a kiss on the cheek. All we had left was coffee beans, letters, and Mommy's Western Union form I helped her fill up. As a first year, I found myself brewing coffee at 5 in the morning. Mommy helped me fill up. I shriveled up in my dorm room. Mommy, I can't do it anymore. And trying to recreate the smell of home that would embrace me like Mommy would, I sip a cup of nostalgia. It's bitter. Bobby's nicotine addiction, La Revolución. It's been 61 years, but I never forget. Bobby passes his cigar to his compadres, la communion. Mommy fills the tacita with café por los antiguos, like you pour one out for the homies, and brewed and molded with the Cuban identity, a dash of nationalism, like the sacrament. Now you are the body of Christ, and each one of us is a part of it. Mommy takes the tobacco into her mouth and exhales a prayer with brevity. Para Chango, para tu abuela, para Legua. Because when the rations weren't enough, la vecina de al lado fue generosa con nosotros. Mommy says, los americanos son frío, they're cold, the coffee is enough to burn their tongues before they tear ours out. Although sewn together, we make sense of it. The exchange is foreign to me, I am foreign to them. Not American enough, so we put a hyphen between Cuban and American. And Mommy and Bobby didn't know what it was to be Hispanic or Latino, so you made them fill out the census form. Un café amargo, it leaves an aftertaste. But un cafecito, right? You keep importing that shit and sensationalizing that shit, but you're lacking that authenticity the farmers at home are struggling to eat. The Yankees! No, mommy, so these are Yankee candles. Well, they can't produce the smell of home. You add a little whiteness to café con leche para gringo, and it becomes easier to swallow it. You made us swallow it. You can't find it at your local Starbucks. Pero el ciudadano sí lo tiene a $1.99. Let's sugarcoat what happened after Santiago, the Spanish-American War. Nuestra America, the U.S. chained Cubans till fields were filled with sugarcane. Your Guayas abuelo could smoke a cigar with the boys and deliberate trade agreements so your kids can make reference to Tony Montana. Mommy never lets me brew the coffee because it's too bitter. Ahora te la tomas amargo. Now I am bitter. This way you can't sugarcoat history, hide behind your cognitive dissonance. Ahora te lo tomas amargo. Because I don't have much sugar to give when you've taken it all.
That was Maria del Carmen Martinez. Can we please get a Zoom round of applause? Brilliant, brilliant bout manager Carlos. Can you give me a score for Kyla Joy?
Kyla Joy got a 24.4. Give it up again for Kyla and give it up for Maria del Carmen.
Always applauding the poet and not the score. On deck, we have Emma Lewandowski, but up next to the microphone right now is Anna Carroll.
Oh, wind, why are you here? You howl and race, chase the place the leaves want to land. Chimes sing for you and sails billow on course, following your plan, an ever-changing map. So why come here? To carry the spear? Snap! The insincere bow down to you, God's beard, commandeered by your gushing trap. Taking or tracking the balloons and silent wishes that slip grip, we grapple, you grab, tickle, tackle, attack. How many kisses have you snatched? Countless misses you've dispatched. Deep in your pocket sing whispers of the dead. Pry open my locket, death's dreams echo instead. Death's dreams and hope that cannot see. Yes, dear wind, that is the distance between you and me. Can I make the jump? Giant lump in my throat be a ramp, not a speed bump. I want to be free, to be fickle and fun. I want to Watusi with clouds, hide no seek tag with sweet sun. We, a wind, yes, you and me, we would run. My world unraveled, undone. To be you, a wind, would turn my doubts to double dog dares. Coincidence into consonance. Common sense would be sacrificed. Now the present is the afterlife. Past reality, I would just set gravity as we, tucked in and tussled dawn. Oh, wind, sweet thistle whistler, why have you gone?
That was Anna Carroll. Thank you for your Zoom applause. My brilliant manager, Carlos, can you please give me a score for Maria Martinez del Carmen?
Maria Martinez del Carmen got a 26.6. Give it up for Maria again.
And we always applaud the poet and not the score. Up on deck is Merm Harula, but up next to the mic right now is Emma Lewandowski. Zoom round of applause.
Summer's heat. I wipe raindrops off of my charcoal bicycle seat and mount it tentatively. My palms rest over the cool layer of mist that blankets the rubber handlebars, and I carefully slide my feet onto the pedals, push into the paved street, a 5-minute ride that I make into 10. My tires eventually clatter onto the iron bike rack, and I pretend to fumble for my lock, desperate to slow time, delay the inevitable, tell myself to take a few more seconds before they take their glances. I tread the steps that always seem to come too soon toward the restaurant's back door, feel the heat from the kitchen even before I step inside. Oven and stovetops, fluorescent lighting, hot stares from the kitchen staff. From the sway of my cardigan and the curves of my torso to the soft curls that fall on my shoulders, they track my every move with such intensity it makes my eyes water. Flames too close to my skin. I've realized that no matter No matter the weather outside, it is always hot here. I promptly clock in, eager to escape that sweltering atmosphere, avert the cook's stifling gaze, manager's fiery eyes. I take my position behind the hostess stand, turn the portable fan to the highest setting, try cooling down from the burns that seared through my t-shirt and trousers. Not many customers today. A rainy Thursday, which means the workers roam, leave their desert in the kitchen, but carry its sultriness with them as they pass through the dining room, bar, women's bathroom. I retreat to the storage closet with the brass lock on the door, find small comfort and momentary relief in the feeling of cool metal against my fingertips. I soon become accustomed to holding the fire blanket I call a sweater tightly around my chest, hide the ashy holes in my shirt, unwanted gifts from burning hands and sizzling grins, force myself to hold my breath, try not to inhale their sour gray smoke. All I can think about is how it is always hot here. I hate how hot it is here, but you're so hot. Just stay here. You're safe here. Just stay after hours here. I shake my head and smile down at my sweater, and I'm burning here. They wink and smirk and reach here. The fan doesn't help much here. The locks aren't working here. Why is it still so goddamn hot here? Don't graze my back there. Don't look at me here. Why do you keep passing by me here? All I can hear is the deafening heartbeat under the sweater I still wrap around me. Aching for the minutes to tick by so I can get out of here. It is always hot here.
That was poet Emma Lewandowski. Thank you so much for that poem, Emma. My brilliant bout manager, Carlos. May I please have a score for Anna Carroll?
Anna Carroll had a 24.5. Give it up again for Anna. Always clap for the poet and give it up for Emma one more time.
Absolutely. On deck is Nadia Williams, but up next to the mic right now is Merm Harula. We'll keep that Zoom applause going for Merm.
Fired from a support group. What does support look like? What could support look like? I received a single email and my whole life shattered in an instant. What the hell was I supposed to do? A child crying on one side and on the other, asking me a question about going outside. Can we go outside, Miss Merm? My first response is, what do you have to say when you ask for something? They blankly stare at me like the face I had when I received that email. You want to know how to support us, how to support those you exploit because of everything we do, all the diversity points we score while you take credit from our black and brown hands while we shed our blood, sweat, and tears for this. To have our own recognition for what we do, what we put together by the skin of our teeth, the death of our brothers and our sisters and our siblings. No, fuck you. For what you have put me through, for what you have put everyone who has come before me, and for everyone who comes after. Guess what? We come around. And we come around with a vengeance. We have figured out how to contort, bend, and break our bodies to create platforms and steps to make our siblings walk across with ease, with support, with a healing path from our mistakes, our accusations, our livelihood, our very existence. No, fuck you, because you still have to see me at events. You still have to work with me. You still have to see this face at meetings. You will know of my existence. You will be the ground I stomp on. You will be the Kool-Aid I spit out. I am tired of being your sick joke, your token, your bitch, your mule, your face of the organization. Diversity and inclusion. We accept all, no matter what sexuality, religion, race, ethnicity, ability status, and gender. Look, we have one of those. We have them packaged in a nice little box, which we've created for them. No. They do not need to create their own box. They fit nice and snug where we can keep track of them. But something they don't know is that as soon as they mess up once, they're out of here. They're out in the cold. She's by herself. We will not help her. She doesn't need it. Oh, I'm so sorry. I meant they'll be fine. This job is the only reason I'm getting an education. This job is the only reason I'm going to college. This job is the only reason I found people I can be around. This job is the only reason I found support. But you just fired me from this support group.
That was Merm Harula. My brilliant, bout manager. You all are great with the Zoom applause. Thank you for that. My bout manager, Carlos. Can I please get a score for Emma Lewandowski?
Emma Lewandowski got a 24.7. Give it up again for Emma, and give it up for Merm one more time. Great job, everybody.
Always applauding the poet and never the scores. On deck, Janie McLuhan, but next to the mic is Nadia Williams right now. Get Zoom applause for Nadia.
Hi, everyone. The name of this piece is Iggy Go Trippin' with a Chip on My Shoulder. I'm a Bantu baddie, Badu bag lady. I hung the KKK by the Confederate flag. I spit biblical miracles. My words walk on water. I bust white feminist hell wide open with my black sexiness. Make mahogany envy my cool shade of brown. My visions painted chapels. I rose on the third day and became peace. I turned dirty Sprite into holy water. Resurrection is hereditary. I'm God's daughter. I rip MCs at their necks and hang them by their microphones. I expedite every mic I'm on. I'm Millie rocking Heaven's Gates with Jesus. God saved me a plate at the Last Supper. Footwork with the ghost of Michael Jackson. Been spitting like this since I was a fetus. I'm poetry's lyrical Allen Iverson, ripping MCs by their metaphorical Achilles. I'm a wicked witch, winding to Jamaican hall music. I am rhythm, I am body, I am sound, I am these metaphors. I take edges with no refunds guaranteed. I'm your favorite poet's favorite poet. I'm ass-tastic and boobalicious, if anything. My body's a thank you from God, who loved me so much he made me open proportion, but I ain't got no serving size, you dig? I am bar for bar. I am lines punching my enemies by they trick knees. I am highly unconventional. Check my residuals. I am the captain of this poetry ship. I am magical. I am aggressive. Fuck a pacifist. My Lars levitate. Check how I master it. Crack master with his own whip that flip them same bricks they used to make slave ships with. Yeah, I'm Chicago. Juke party, thick, hip roll. I am cellulite goddess. Lick my stretch marks like the last cinnamon honey bun. I am the sun, and God is my son. I am soul food. I am food for your soul. I am Dastardly Diva was white America after me. I am voluptuous. My verses save lives. My poems crack levees. I am beautiful. I am black. I am bold. I am goddess with the sun revolving around my assets. Get enlightened.
That was Nadia Williams. We applaud the poet. My brilliant bout manager, Carlos. May I please have a score for Merm Harula?
Merm Harula got a 25.9. Give it up one more time for Merm. And give it up, of course, for Nadia one more time.
Always applauding the poets and not the score. On deck is our Sema Burhane, but next to the mic is Janie McLuhan.
Hey, y'all. Can everyone hear me? Yes, okay. I am currently a student in the field of speech-language pathology. My future career only exists because of disease, illness, and disorder. In school, we learn about a condition called hypoxia. By definition, hypoxia is a total depletion of oxygen in a region of the brain in a region of the body when the brain is deprived of the air it desperately needs to breathe. I once heard that having depression is when your mind and body no longer love each other but are forced to eat at the same dinner table every night. Forced to communicate through the static of a broken television, forced to exist not in the presence of each other, but in the skeletons of their counterparts, wood rotting below the dripping faucet, cobwebs and glass bowls on the table, ghosts floating in and out like a dying motel. Having depression is being a housemaid in the kitchen of your own funeral, serving your guests shrimp platters while your body rots in its coffin. Cinderella without her 11th hour, trapped in the only bedroom in the house with the lock on the outside. When your body undergoes the trauma of hypoxia, when your brain has been hooked by a fishing line and is left flopping on the lid of a cooler of beers, suffocating, writhing, existing in the only realm it cannot survive in, it rarely makes a full recovery. When the chemistry in your brain changes, when depression wakes you up with the fire alarm at 2 a.m. and the curtains above your bed are on fire, when you become the gun held by a shaky hand, one more ghost pulls a seat up at the table. When I think about depression and my face shows up in the mirror and no other day has felt as hard as this one, I pretend that being sad is normal. Like being sad is quiet rain outside my window, someone messing up my coffee order, brushing my teeth in the morning. I pretend that being sad tastes like black coffee, like being sad is just another boring day, and I will go to bed and wake up tomorrow the exact same way I always do. I pretend that being sad is letting the dishes sit a little too long, like being sad is just a simple household chore, and one of these days I will get around to cleaning. But the truth is, when I think about depression and my face shows up in the mirror and no other day has felt as hard as this one, being sad is an explosion. Being sad is standing stranded in a blizzard, tossing a matchstick ablaze in the forest, sailing the ocean in the middle of a hurricane. Being sad is throwing glass plates at the wall and confusing it for music, chopping onions for dinner and wondering when I'm gonna cut my finger off instead, searching library racks like I might be able to find a spine that feels like home. Being sad is a pile of wood and gasoline, a small friendly bonfire begging to burn my house down. Being sad is like breathing through a straw and wondering how no one else is short of breath, wondering how no one else's hearts are withering away like grass in the winter, how no one else has trouble eating dinner at night, how no one else looks in the mirror of a bathroom stall and can think about anything other than how painful it is to be alive. Being sad is a board game I cannot find the instructions for, an ocean I might never learn to swim in.
That was Janie McCluen. Thank you so much, Janie. My brilliant bout manager, Carlos. May I please have a score for the previous poet, Nadia Williams?
Nadia Williams had a 25.9. Give it up one more time for Nadia. And give it up again for Janie.
Always applauding the poet and not the score. On deck is Vic Kepner, but up next to the mic is our Sema Berhane.
5 rules I've learned through poetry. Rule number 1, you never ask a poet if they're okay. Their pulse is racing, their heart palpating. They're on stage connecting with you and every other soul in the room through nothing more than the emotional cadence of their voice. Trust me, they are fine. Rule number 2, I've never met a strong poet who learned how to compress their feelings into bite-sized pieces and silently digest it. I digress. We swallow our rage whole, punching, kicking, and constricting in our airways, leaving cigarette burns in our trachea until we learn to speak fire into this world instead of ablaze with our words. Rule number 3, there's something healing about writing verbose vernacular into prose. Every tear, every heartbreak, every instance of pain has pushed my pen, and I'll be damned if I don't Frank Ocean this shit out. Rule number 4, this is a poem. 9 AK, nor a Glock 9, but I think I'll murder your favorite rapper when I teach them how to speak on beat and how to talk at the right time. See, my rhymes, they're harder than Kanye's dick when he called 400 years of slavery a choice and ruined the game. They're harder than Drake's jaw when Meek Mill called him a fraud. Cause see, rule number 4, you can't play the facade of being a god or pretend to be legit when you don't even write what the fuck you spit. Rule number 5, the point of the times where circles are the only physical thing you can turn to, or the days you fall into snow the same ways you fall in love, or the nights where everything you love about the sky is painted on someone else's hands, is to remind yourself that if nothing else, in this very moment, you are here and you are alive.
That was our Sema Berhane. Brilliant bout manager, Carlos. Thank you. You are doing such an awesome job. May I please have a score for Janie McCluen?
You're doing an amazing job, Ashley. Everybody give it up for Ashley. Give it up for your
you.
amazing celebrity judges, 3 of the best poets alive, along with Ashley, Ebony Stewart, Katie Kramer, and Carlos Robeson. 4 of my favorite poets ever, hosting and judging. Janie got a 25.9. But went 3 seconds over, so there was a 0.5 time penalty. So the score after the time penalty was a 25.4. Give it up again.
Boo linear time, but we always applaud the poet and not the score. Yeah. And up next to the mic, rounding out round 1, is Vic Kepner. Y'all give it up for Vic.
Denial. The first stage of this tragic play, composed of all your desperate attempts to keep up the charade, you're not even sure how you got here in the first place, but if you don't stop repeating your Bible verses, you won't have to think about it. Her lips resemble a red delicious, and there's nothing more tempting than to press your lips against it, except we wouldn't want another Eve incident. While Pastor Steve says Jesus is forgiving, the rest of the church won't stand for this. So try to focus on the hymns instead of how she looks singing them, because the second you recognize what is going on inside your head, the next stage sets in: bargaining. How many times do you have to pray before you're saved? The boys at school said they'd like a girl on their knees. You've been kneeling by your bedside every night trying to convince God that you're worthy of his grace. They tried to tell you that apples were dangerous. She reminds you of a Granny Smith, a sweetness you crave matched with the sour reality held inside your verse. You're green with envy at the boy who gets to hold her hand. Jesus died for your sins, though. The least you can do is resist them. It only counts if you try to live your dreams. But no matter how much you pray, the thoughts still won't go away, and the next stage creeps in as easily as the last: anger. Her flesh bruises easily, so he only gives her feather-like touches. You wonder if this is a punishment for your past mistakes. Some sick joke God likes to play. You can feel the fires of hell burning in your chest as he wraps his arm around her. You will never get to touch her like that. Her voice is as sweet as a honey crisp, dripping with a nectar that can heal all your pain, that you'll never get to taste. You spend all that time helping out in children's church just to become one of the monsters they taught you about. Don't you deserve to be saved? Instead, you're left choking on her beauty, gasping desperately for air. The next stage, ready for you to walk its way: depression. She makes you blush like a pink lady, cheeks heated by the hell fire you're going to burn, and your family doesn't deserve this. They're good people devoted to the Lord. You should be ashamed for even thinking of telling them. The thoughts won't stop. You still yearn to taste the only apple of your eye. It's best to leave them be. They'll be happy when they can live their lives as holy, while your sin hangs from your grandma's apple tree. Better to die still loved than rotten to the core. It's so hard to come out of this stage alive, but when you do, you'll meet acceptance. Sometimes a part of you has to die before you can truly feel alive. There's a part of your mind where the hymns still live, psalms recited for every daily interaction, a constant reminder of who you were supposed to be. But now you've taken a bite of her from her, and you can't get enough. She plants seeds of love in your mind, and despite all the pain you felt, you've come to learn that Eve was right.
That was Vic, our last poet of round one. We are applauding the poet. Brilliant Bout manager Carlos. Can you make sure that you've checked your chat, but also can you give me a score for the previous poet, Arsema Berhane?
Arsema Berhane had a 24.9. Give it up for Arsema.
That's Arsema Berhane. And we will get a score for Vic shortly. Let's just take a time to breathe in, breathe out. We're done with round one of semifinals. This is so exciting. I'll be honest, I did not know how the energy in a Zoom poetry slam is, but like, why didn't we invent this 10 years ago? I would have probably gone to more poetry slams if it had been done this way. You all are brilliant and giving up great energy. As a host, it is my job to remain impartial, but I am snapping and cheering for every single person here. I'm so excited. Carlos, I think I've bought you a little bit of time. Do you by chance have a score for Vic?
Yes, I do have a score for Vic. And not just that, I also have the poets advancing.
Yay. I would love for you to read that list.
Sure. So so Vic got a 26.1. Give it up for Vic Kepner one more time, closing out the first round. So I'm going to read off first, before I do anything else, I would like to, there's a saying in slam, people who've done slam before. I'm talking to you judges. What's the saying in slam?
Which one?
Yeah.
The point is not the points are not the point.
The point is poetry. If you co-op a black art form, you say you discovered it. I'm kidding. Mark Smith. I'm joking. I'm totally joking. I'm actually not. But yeah, no. One of the things they say in slam that I actually co-sign and support is the best poets often do not do well in a poetry slam, or the best poets do not win, okay? Which is to say that the best poets from tonight's bout who are not going to the second round, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, are 5 incredible poets who did not get the scores, but they read amazing poems and they were a part of this, and we're grateful for you. And we want you to come back in 2021 and give it up for Kyla Joy Wilson, who was incredible tonight. Give it up for Kyla Joy Wilson. Give it up for Anna Carroll. Give it up for Sunshine Alvarez de Silva. Give it up for Christina Kaufman. Give it up for Emma Lewandowski. Give it up for Emma Lewandowski. So in the second round, we have 7 poets that will be going in this order, okay? So everyone, block this in your heads, and I will also be sending this order in a chat to the host, Ashley, so she has it. Going first in the second round will be Arsima Burhani. Janie will be going second. Merm will be going third. Nadia will be going fourth. Vic will be going fifth. Maria will be going sixth. And Jamie will be closing us out and going seventh. I'm going to say it one more time. Arsima is going first. Janie is second. Merm is third. Nadia is fourth. Vic is fifth. Maria is sixth. Jamie is seventh. Okay? And the highest combined score, the 5 poets with the 5 highest combined scores will be going on to the finals. Y'all have been absolutely incredible. I know I've been having so many feelings, and I co-sign Ashley. I didn't know there could be energy, or I could feel this moved on a Zoom, but y'all are really bringing it. Everyone, all 12. So best of luck in the second round. I'm going to send this order along to Ashley right now, whose memory I know is phenomenal, but not photographic.
Ebony has actually helped and put the order in. So the order is low to high, not high to low.
You got it right? You got it? Okay.
Yep. Okay, good. So on deck is Janie McLuhan, but up next to the microphone right now is Arsima Burhani.
When car speakers are therapy. Lately, I've been thinking about fear and how something is watching your every move in the middle of the night. And you just know something is about to go down when everything goes silent and black. I said lately, I've been making it a habit to drive through my white-ass Waldonian neighborhood with my windows cracked just enough so that everyone can hear the hood shit, the trap shit, the good old black rap shit that's blasting through my speakers. Despite the fact that someone could hop out the house, pull out the gun, and shoot me. Justice for Jordan Davis and Elijah Alameen. When you're Black, you have this relationship with death. You can see it in every resigned parent's eyes when they tell their kids how to say, yes, sir, and no, sir. Don't move too fast. Know how to make eye contact, but not for too long. And knowing that their child could still die by the end of the night. You've planned out every way that the people around you could die by the end of the night. Car accident, homicide, medical manslaughter, vigilante shooting, suicide from the PTSD that no one cares enough to treat you for, or calling the police on the only Black people in the neighborhood. I want people to be scared like I am every time I see red and blue lights, or red hats, or old-fashioned flags, or bumper stickers that say Blue Lives Matter, as if they can't take their blue skin off and hang it up in my room to become the boogeyman that made me scared of the dark. I want fear to fill their hearts, like that mother who saw her white sons playing with me as a child and looked at me like I was nothing, trash. Like that family that was walking, they fear what they don't know. They saw me walking, soft smile, black and gold in my afro. They walked off the sidewalk and kept looking back, mad, like that police officer who saw my father parked in his taxi minding his business and arrested him for obstructing police investigation. sad. Like that white woman who called the police on my 6', 200-pound brother born with autism, as if everyone involved couldn't see all of the ways that his Black life could have bled out on the ground. So yes, I'll blast my music as loud as I can, and I promise I'll show you how to be afraid of the dark.
That was our Sema Berhane, the first poet of round 2. I see your Zoom round of applause. Keep that Zoom round of applause going as we welcome our next poet on deck. It's Merm Harula, but up next right now is Janie McLuhan.
As simple as confusing a pack of cigarettes for a bouquet of flowers, your worth, you assure yourself, is independent of numbers, statistics, and pie charts. Your value is not associated with image, standards, or society because you are too strong for that. You have been taught to be fine. You have been taught to be unbreakable. So why does happiness feel like the third ball you could never catch when your brother tried to teach you how to juggle? Why does content slip through your fingers like a handful of sand everywhere in sight, but impossible to hold on to? When did your life start feeling like 1,000 marbles split from the bottom of the bag, scattered across the floor, sadness and chaos and anger and hurt in the form of beautiful, distracting colors? All you can see is a vase, an intricately carved masterpiece of a glass cylinder balancing perfectly on the edge of the table. It looks safe to you, still, balanced, quiet, but to your family, to your friends, to the rest of the world whose hearts would break if they were to watch you, that beautiful, fragile vase, slip off the edge of the table. They know the vase is not safe. They see the consequences before you do. They see the vase waver with even the smallest breath of air and are forced to watch in slow motion the destruction it causes as it clatters to the ground, broken pieces flying in every direction across the floor, just like that bag of marbles. Only this time your life is glass and your sharp corners stab holes into hardwood floors and your jagged shards split skin open in you, the vase that fell off the table with just a whisper of the wind, are far too broken to fix this mess. While you were entertaining the idea of a table's edge being an appropriate place for a flower vase, everyone around you saw it coming. And now they are crying, shaking your shoulders, pounding on the other side of the mirror, begging you to see. But still, you cannot tell the difference between that pack of cigarettes and bouquet of flowers. And this voice inside your head that you call a friend is the same madness that a trained doctor calls a disorder. And you are so blind and broken and stumbling around lost that you would accidentally choose a stale, cancerous cigarette over a freshly picked flower. And now you are in pieces on the floor, a terribly broken masterpiece after having given up everything you ever were to become what you thought was beautiful, to become the glass vase that never actually got used, too delicate to even serve its original purpose. And so the vase, or you, was left on the kitchen table, alone, abandoned, and empty, because everybody knows that cigarettes don't belong in flower vases.
That was the poet Janie McLuhan. Give a Zoom round of applause. Bout manager Carlos, who's doing such an awesome job. May I please have a score for the first poet, Sema Berhane?
Sema had a 25.5 in the first round. Give it up for Sema. Give it up one more time for Janie, of course, as well.
Awesome. We always applaud the poet and never the score. On deck is Nadia Williams, but up next to the mic right now is Merm Harula.
Talafa asolopito olo uainga. September 28th, 2009. A day I will never forget. A day my people will never forget. The day the world grieved and empathized with my people for the first time. The day where over 100 people died. A day where most were children. My mother comes from a small group of islands in the South Pacific, but if I were to tell you its name, you would give me one of three responses. Where is that? Like the Girl Scout cookies? Is that how you pronounced it? Those responses ringing in my ear like church bells heard throughout my village of Potassi, where colonizers came and did what they do best. Colonize, destroy, demonize who I am and who I love, and knowing that before he came, we had rituals and ceremonies of love and lust, exposing our vulvas, loving our bodies and each other without fear of persecution for saying "Ote alofa yete oi" to the wrong person. But now lava covers us, wrapped around our waists as chains wrap around my neck, holding me in the place of what we know as woman. I said he, because it was he who came into my family and took the lands from those we call woe, bartering unfairly because Samoans were stupid and didn't know what they were doing. 3 or 4 acres of land for a knife that would break, chicken and cattle for the palangi weapons. My family has land from the ancestors who come before me, Fafitai, but land also comes from his manipulation, his lack of empathy, his greed for power, wrath for my people, pride for his findings, lust for the women of the village, gluttony for the land, envy for the Matai. For the Matai held power, held everything for the villages and for the families. But he wanted it and he grabbed it. And now church bells ring throughout our lands and the hymns of the white God are sung. And me, in the diaspora, can only sing. Savali valley means go for a walk. Tau tala tala means too much talk. Alofayate oi means I love you. Take it easy, five lemu.
That was Merm Harula. We applaud the poets. Carlos, Bout manager, in the corner. What say you is the score for Janie McLuhan?
Janie had a 24.9. Give it up for Janie one more time. And of course, give it up for Merm one more time.
Of course, keep that applause going. On deck is Vic Kepner. But next up to the mic right now is Nadia Williams.
Hi, everybody. The name of this piece is Trauma in the Key of Fire. I sat in a room across from my principal and the girl who set my hair on fire. She gave me wet apologies, but it could never give me back those minutes of my life being held in her hands. 7 days of suspended sorries just to say it was an accident, feeling the scattering flames of my scalp melanin. Nightmares and scriptures knotted in the pit of my stomach. The boogeyman ain't a monster no more now. She wears 22-inch Brazilian and carries a lighter. Mental breakdowns before school every morning, collecting the ash ego I had left. I can't shake the terror of the fire on my way. Depression and its diagnosis, as if a fire rising on my lineage wasn't traumatic enough to be PTSD. Anxiety in my stuttering palms each time mama twists my bantu knots and smoke her Newports. When I smell smoke, I never twitch in my neck when I see the flick of that color kush crystal of flame. Mama said, baby girl, it'll be all right. Just a little soul for 8 and patience. Mama mason jar in my tears. In my mama's arms, I almost forget my life is on fire. Mama wanted the arsonist to bruise, to deteriorate into oblivion, like my curls, like my smile. I remember pressing my palms to my eyes to protect them from the murmuring of the spasm igniter, crouching down not to ascend out of my ashes like a phoenix. All in a matter of seconds, her hands made a disfigured rainbow, and my body reeked of pocket change engulfed in coiled curls. She said fire to my face and my fro. She watched me helplessly burn. I watched her wash the sin off her fingertips. I watched her beg for forgiveness as if she deserved it. She still recites sorry like she didn't almost kill me, like she didn't turn me into a burning cross. She tried to sympathize, never knowing how trauma tasted. My hair was not hers to mutilate. My life was not hers to contemplate. My veins still gnarls at the sight of fire's runway and open hallways where fear and fire met center stage. But it seems the crowd finally dies down, and hopefully the inferno within me won't frighten me anymore. Deep breaths turn to poems. Here we are in the midst of my Black girl magic. I am a standing mural in honor of the cinders that couldn't choke me, a witch that wouldn't smolder at the stake by your apologetic accidents. I learned in isolation to lull the trauma to sleep, that surviving was my incantation, my presence in spellbinding, and in fire. My Black girl magic healed my 2nd and 3rd degree burns, beautiful battle scars from the cauldron that couldn't cook me. Maybe one day her wet apologies could put out the fire in my memory. But for now, this poem will fan the fire out for the world to see. Thank you.
That was Nadia Williams. We applaud the poet. Carlos, my bout manager, may I please have a score for Merm Harula?
Merm Harula in the last round had a 26.6. Give it up for Merm one more time. And give it up for Nadia again. Give it up for Nadia.
Applauding the poets and not the scores. On deck is Maria Martinez del Carmen, but up next to the mic right now is Vic Kepner. Give a round of applause for Vic.
It shocks me to learn how proud people are of their family history, that they have a family tree rooted in pride instead of misery. When my ancestors came here, they sought to leave behind their misfortune, but we were already so tangled with tragedy. It followed us from sea to shining sea, the core of our family tree already rotting. Some families brought over legacies, and I wouldn't be surprised if ours was methamphetamines. PTSD isn't supposed to be genetic, yet it's as common in our family as our blue irises. I wonder if our eyes also pass along what they've seen. No one knows much about our history. Whatever physical evidence left behind died with their bodies, buried in unmarked and forgotten graves. Last names seen as simply a relic of the past, and I know no one is proud of whatever we did find, because all that was found was impoverished houses reeking of abuse and addiction, with hard childhoods and suicidality being as common as blonde hair is. I think my cousin carries a Confederate flag because he thinks at least they stood for something. He would rather be known as a racist than as nothing, because to him, it's better to be evil than forgotten, to be remembered fighting on the wrong side of the war rather than off to the sides doing nothing but rotting. At least they get remembered. He would rather be remembered as a bigot than as part of this family. I went the opposite direction, decided to go against every bone of my Southern lineage and become a radical left, Ronald Reagan hating lesbian, and they simply ignore it. I guess it's more embarrassing than siding with the Confederacy. They preferred the 10-year-old girl who went to church every Sunday and vowed to marry a rich man, the one who was supposed to make up for all the bad apples and produce some good seeds, the one who is supposed to grow into something besides good for nothing. My family ached for me to be significant, to bring something more to our name than rotting corpses, for my suicide to be considered as tragic to more than just their coffins, because they still don't think I'll make it to 30. Some barely think I'll make it to 20. They just hope I make something of myself first. They know even if I have my father's last name, it won't erase the poisonous blood inside me, a family created by hateful marriages rooted in torrid affairs and rotting with addiction, kids birthed from the need to prove people wrong, fathered by the rehabs of America, and abandoned by the need to succumb to what's running in your veins. I don't know if I can create anything that they'll be proud of. I can only produce art from the shattered pieces I was given, none of it ever beautiful, simply just parts of depressive episodes glued together and called a poem. None of my family likes to read much, and it's probably for the best, because all of the pieces I was given are still sharp enough to leave cuts on all of them.
That was Vic Kepner in round 2. Bout manager Carlos, may I please have a score for Nadia Williams?
Nadia Williams had a 26.9 in the last round. Give it up for Nadia again, and give it up for Vic one more time.
We applaud the poets and not the score. On deck is Jamie Williams, but up next to the mic right now is Maria Martinez del Carmen.
Make sure you're unmuted, Maria.
Esta niña linda que nació de día quiere que la lleven a la dulcería. Our nurse rhymes, she sings. Carmen breathes fire into light. She is birthed a baby girl. Looking deep into her eyes, she sees the potential, the American dream. Leaving home and all that was familiar is suddenly all worth it when she smiles and cries out for love. Mi niña, she will want for nothing, even if it means my life. I fear she means it. Mommy cradles me, comforting me. Mommy has held me, grazed my tears with her thumbs, and shielded me from the racist rhetoric embedded within my reality. Mommy said, I took 9 months to form your heart, so don't let anyone break it. The simplest of words. You will leave for nothing but a shadow for yourself. Starve in silence and allow for people to feed until you have nothing left to give. Mommy, why? Let your eyelids well up with tears, your hearts and your lungs to his nicotine addiction, your hands in health. Mommy, why? Mommy, why? My por qué? Yo tuve un falta, myself. The doctor and I both look at her, and all I can think is, where the fuck was I in March? And how could mommy not say nothing to me? Mommy, I can't lie to you. I'm not as strong as you are. You leave home for a man whose infidelity would eat at you slowly. Mommy, you're fading gray. His betrayal always took place of any happiness. It was looming over us, although he liked to pretend his mask was fucking convincing. Mommy, I can't lie to you. I'm not as strong as you are. But it's worth it because the lights will never go out in her and she will never know what it is to be dependent on someone you fucking hate and a man whose infidelity will eat at you slowly. Mommy, I pray his death will free you. I am hesitant to leave for college because I know she aches. She will suffer in silence, ignore the words crushing her throat and suppress her reservations. So I turn around and smile, wave, and say my goodbyes, get on that plane to fucking Washington. Mommy, I looked back and I wished I wouldn't have. How selfish am I? Could I not do the same for her? Mommy, I don't have it in me to tell you that I'm not okay and I don't know if I could be the scholar you imagined me to be, but an imposter. Mommy, I'm not your perfect daughter and the American dream doesn't fucking exist and I will find my way back to you. Mommy, I'm home. Mommy, let me cradle you. Esta viejita linda, con la alma partida, quiere que la entierren a la isla mía.
I'll give a Zoom round of applause for Maria. Carlos, my brilliant bout manager. Your shift is almost over, but in the meantime, I would love a score for Vic Kepner.
Vic got a 26.8 for the last poem. And give it up again for Vic and give it up for Maria's last poem of the night.
We applaud the poets and not the score. And rounding out round two, the last four to the microphone this evening, please give a Zoom round of applause to Jamie Williams.
Shout out to Nadia's first poem. She had hella bars and it inspired me to do this piece. Let's go. I'm from the Bay where you got it there, it's hard. Niggas say hella and be swinging their cars. Every day is sunny and everybody's a star. Don't nothing come small cause everything is large. I'm from the Bay where them niggas carry hammers. I'm from the Bay where them niggas go bananas. My mama told me don't get locked up in a slammer, so I gotta use my mind and I gotta mind my manners. I'm from a black pothole that offers no palliation. I'm from a fracture in the frame of society that is easily overlooked, a crack in the community that is becoming overbooked with faces of the enemy. Gentrification is but a small entity of institutionalized racism. It is the beast, skin, the color of money, teeth, painted with privilege that raises generations of families from the only homes that they have ever known. It is the calm before the conquest. Call it the hegemony and hiding. And so I wonder, if being Black is so bad, then why is my culture the blood of this country? I said, if being Black is so bad, then why is my culture the blood of this country? If our hood slack enough, neighbor, then who the fuck gave these white families to welcome themselves to play the part?
That was the last poet of the evening, Jamie Williams. Thank you so much, Jamie. Carlos, you're a great bout manager. I'm going to give you a couple seconds to get a score for Jamie. In the meantime, could everybody take a collective inhale and a collective outhale? Exhale, not outhale. And we are finished with our first semifinal bout. Isn't this exciting? You all have done such great work. And now that the competition is over, I can say that this is one of the most filling nights of poetry that I have had in quite some time. You all are brilliant writers, way more brilliant than I was at your age. The future is all right. It is bright. The kids are all right. Thank you all so much. Thank you to my celebrity judges, Ebony Stewart, Katie Kramer, Carlos Robeson, and of course, my brilliant bout manager. Can I get one last score before you clock out, Carlos?
Yes, I can actually give you the poets that are advancing on to the next round. Let me give Nadia got a 25.5, and Jamie got a 27.5. Give it up for all the poets. Give it up for all the poets. I have the 5 poets that are going to be advancing on to the finals. Please give it up for Maria Martinez del Carmen, moving on to finals. Give it up for Merm Harula, moving on to finals. Give it up for Nadia Williams, moving on to finals. Give it up for Vic Kepner, moving on to finals. And give it up for the final person going on to finals and the winner tonight, Jamie Williams, moving on to the America's Best College Poet 2020 finals. Clap for Janie and our Sema. You all were fantastic. Give it up as well for Emma, Christina, Sunshine, Anna, Kyla. I felt so moved, inspired, so many feelings. Y'all were incredible. You all brought it. I'm really glad I was not a judge tonight, and I'm already stressed out about next Sunday. Judges had a super stressful, hard job. And and give it up for your incredible host, Ashley. Thank you.
Thank you all so much. This has been semifinals bout 1 of America's Best College Poet. Please come back next Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We will be having our semifinal bout round 2. And who's hosting this one? Ebony Stewart is going to be your host. I'm going to be your bout manager. And then Carlos, Katie, and Lois are going to be your celebrity judges next week. So happy writing. Have a wonderful week. If you have any questions, feel free to email Sue over at Bash Schuler. Feel free to message us in the chat when we're here. Otherwise, I hope you all have a wonderful Sunday evening. Thank you so much.